And yes. Okay, that's not what we want. Update failed. Navigation expires the 22nd of February. So what I'm gonna try then is a shutdown of the Avionics and swap the cards and see if that one will trigger the MFD to start up properly. Hang out with me in the hangar as I prep the Cirrus for our trip out into the mountains. We'll troubleshoot this Avionics failure that could ruin the trip. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Elevate. Pre-flight is already complete. I'll probably do a separate video someday about all the steps on pre-flighting a Cirrus. All the cameras are set up. So we install out here a GoPro Max, which I'm debating switching brands because this thing has been problematic. The thing is just, it's kind of a joke. We put the Enduro batteries in there, and even with this underwater case, we maybe get 20 minutes out of it. If we put it in time-lapse mode, we can get about an hour and a half out of it. So that's why you'll see some of our videos, it's just time-lapse. Depending on what the mission is, it kind of makes sense to put it in time-lapse sometimes. The other cameras in the airplane. So we've got a Hero 11 Black that we put in, I think it's called the mod case. So that allows a 3.5 millimeter connection to then, it routes underneath there and then goes actually over to here and plugs in. I plug it into the passenger side, but that's how we record all the audio and pipe it into the video. The other camera that we just started using in our videos is this one, because people were asking for a little bit more cockpit scene, and that way too you can see out the glare shield. So the airplane's all cleaned up, it's all ready. Headsets are installed, pre-flight's complete. I gotta get it fueled, or actually we're gonna load it up with that luggage first. So that's our snowboard, skis, boots, etc. We're gonna get that in here. We're gonna put the dogs here. That way, because Lene sits there with the dogs there in their bed, she can attend to them if need be. I'm gonna fold that seat down and put the boards and skis in there. Everything's pulled out of the luggage compartment. And what we've got here, it's a low light situation, so hopefully this turns out, but okay, you flip this up and there's little pins. There's a pin there, right there. So all you do is you just pull these pins out. Okay. And I'll have to pull this one, I think, off camera. Let's see if I can do it with the camera rolling here. Yeah, okay. So now the seat's loose. So we're gonna go in from the front and disconnect the seatbelt and carefully fold it down. All right, so let's move this seat forward. With that seat like that, right, gives us plenty of space. Unclick that. Okay, and then we make sure this guy is sitting right around there, so that as you fold this forward, it doesn't pinch and hurt the leather. Okay, I'm gonna go back there and latch those so it's a nice assembly, and then get the luggage all loaded up here. And let's see, my wife's ski boots, my snowboard bag, all of my snowboard stuff, her ski bag, all of her ski stuff is all in there, with then plenty of room to spare for all the dog stuff, the dogs themselves in the back, and our luggage. So the dogs go there. Well, we put them there, and then Pip climbs up and she sleeps right there. So we usually lay down a jacket and she sleeps on that. And then there's plenty of room for more luggage. We're well under weight with all this stuff being so light. It's rated for 135 pounds in the luggage compartment. We're gonna maybe have 50 total, 60 back there. And then here we're gonna probably have about 30, I'd say 25, something like that. So yeah, we're still way under what this thing can do. And because it's just my wife and I, and she's tiny, we can do full fuel, no problem. So there's our fuel tanks. We can do full fuel and still be under gross weight. So we're gonna close this thing up now and call in the fuel truck to disconnect this. All you do, see if I can do it with one hand. Nope, can't. So you just let this go on up automatically. Nice slow wind. And then we open the door, we tug it out, they fuel it, we pull it back in, and then I'm gonna show you how to sump the fuel. All right, there goes the fuel truck. So, fuel truck likes for the airplane to be outside when it gets fueled, just in case it's vapors or something, that it doesn't create an issue inside the hangar and create an explosion. So while this thing is out here, I just put in the updated data cards for both the PFD and the MFD. So to reduce any potential issues, I'm going to update the avionics now, just in case something goes wrong. That way I've got 6 days to fix the, if it was a corrupt update or whatever could possibly go wrong. We've had them not go perfect in the past. Usually it's all fine, but I might as well just take the opportunity to just get it done. So I'm gonna pull it out a little further. That way we can connect to all GPS satellites and make sure that synthetic vision works on both the, on the PFD, and that all the terrain and everything is loaded up on the MFD. So here we are in the plane. We're gonna turn on battery 1. We should be prompted. Yep, initializing system. Initializing system. There we go. Press any key to continue. That's a great sign that the update is going to work successfully. Let's see here. From yes to yes. From yes to yes. So we'll just select yes and yes. Okay, that's not what we want. Update failed. Interesting. Okay. Region activated. This one was successful. This one was not. So that's the PFD, that's the MFD. So good thing we checked. We're going to see that navigation expires the 22nd of February. Today is the 25th of February. So let's see here. Let's see what loads. We just filled it up, so we're gonna hit full. 92 gallons. 62 is added. He confirmed 62.1 was added, so that's good. Let's see if synthetic vision pulls up. Usually takes about a minute. So what I'm gonna try then is a shutdown of the avionics and swap the cards and see if that one will trigger the MFD to start up properly. Basically, the bottom card of the PFD and the MFD both have the same data loaded on them from Jeppesen. And so I don't know, maybe we've got a defective card. I have seen that happen in the past. We did a shutdown of both the PFD and MFD. We swapped the cards and it worked. We're good. So we must have a faulty card. The card that's in the PFD right now is the faulty one. But now that the correct card or the non-faulty card had loaded all the data into the PFD, it's allowing us to run it. So let's just make sure. And then we'll address that card with Garmin. Now this is interesting. it didn't remember the full fuel. Enter. So let's make sure it does its TAWS test, that we get synthetic vision, and that we get correct navigation here. This should all turn green. That should stay blue. That should turn green, and that should stay blue. And that's what you want to see. The terrain loaded correctly. All of our navigation is loaded correctly. We've got blue, green, green, blue. Everything is correct. TAWS is tested and good. This can be ignored. All of that is because one, battery 2 is off. 2, the airplane is turned off. So alternator 1 and alternator 2 are turned off. And because those are off, we don't have the avionics on. That's the last thing that gets turned on once the alternators are up and running. That's when you fire up the avionics, and that's what fires up the center pack here. So the PFD and MFD run off of the main battery bus, and if you were to have a battery 1 or battery 2 failure, these stay active. Everything's redundant. So we know that we have a bad card, and so I'll address that with Jeppesen and Garmin and get that corrected. But at least we know we can fly safely. Everything is up to date and good. So I'm gonna pull the airplane back in the hangar and sump the fuel. Sumping the fuel. That's what it looks like. It's got a strainer on it, so you can pour it back into the tanks. And in case there's any sediment, it'll prevent the sediment from going back into the tank. I like to do it from the front of the wing. There's 2 spots on a G3, 5, and 6. There's no G4 Cirrus. Some people call this one a G4, but it's really a G3. This one right here. Let's do a little bit more. Okay. You're looking for any kind of contaminants, or if there's what looks like Vaseline in there, or just a water bubble. If there's any sort of a bubble or separation, you know you got water in there, and you keep flushing it out until you don't see any anymore. It's that simple. This is your TKS fluid drain, so it's not that one. It's this one right here. Okay. Now let's put it in good lighting and just double check it. Okay, good. Yeah, that looks great. So we're gonna dump it back into the fuel tank and do the other side. All sumped. The fuel sump is back in the airplane, so it's ready for the trip. One of the last steps is where it says no fuel, that is TKS fluid. We're heading out to the mountains. It's the middle of winter, so very important to have your TKS fluid. This airplane is certified to fly through known icing. So it's got this TKS panel along the entire leading edge, along the vertical stabilizer, the horizontal stabilizer, the windshield, and the propeller. It weeps out on here and bleeds onto this edge, and then it keeps the propeller from freezing up. So that only works if you've got TKS fluid. This holds 4 gallons a side. So with 8 gallons, you can get through about 2.5 hours worth of icing on the normal setting, about 1 hour and 15 minutes of icing on the high setting, and then about 40 minutes of icing on the max setting. I've had to use max. It's freaky. You want to get out of it as quickly as you can. We will be flying IFR, so we might be flying into clouds, so we make sure that those are all topped off, which they are. So the airplane is fully loaded, ready to go. When you get onto a commercial airliner, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You just get on, you could fall asleep, you could do work on your computer. There's a huge advantage to that, and it's way cheaper. This is a lot more fun though. You get addicted to it. This allows a lot of freedom, and especially a plane this size, you're able to get into almost every paved runway in the country, which there's, I don't know, it's something like 200 times the amount of airports compared to commercial. So there's a convenience factor there, yes. But I was here for the last 2 hours getting this thing all ready. It takes a lot of time to make sure that everything is done correctly and to make sure that you're gonna keep your family safe up in the air. So something to consider if you're interested in general aviation. To us, 200% worth it. But to some people, it's not their thing, and I don't blame them. It's a lot of work. If you like what you see, please like the video. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to our channel, Elevate.